Good old Jerry Jones is one of the most polarizing sports figures in the world today, really in the last 40 years. Very few people have been more instrumental in the growth of the NFL than Jerry Jones. There's no denying that he's one of the best owners in the NFL. But one thing he has been criticized for is his overstepping boundaries into the football operations side of the business. Okay, there's been many things he's been criticized for, but is Jerry Jones actually a good general manager? In this video, I'm going to break down what makes him a good or bad GM, and you're never going to believe what I concluded after really looking at his tenure in Dallas. Since Jerry Jones basically took back the organization from Jimmy Johnson, with the exception of 1 year with Barry Switzer, the Cowboys have failed to meet expectations. The Cowboys won their last Super Bowl in 1996, and they only won a handful of playoff games since then. And the playoff games they lost, well, it's kind of been a kick in the nuts for them. Think Tony Romo fumbling the snap in Dallas or Dak mismanaging the clock. But winning a Super Bowl is not easy. There are plenty of teams that have relatively the same success during that time period. To be precise, they are 23rd in playoff wins since 1996. But of course, none of those teams, like say the Los Angeles Chargers or the Buffalo Bills, get the criticism in the media quite like the Dallas Cowboys. You know, they're the Dallas Cowboys. You either hate them or you love them. So let's dissect Jerry's tenure from the beginning, right after you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe buttons. Thank you kindly. Let's start by bringing things back to 1997. The Cowboys were just coming off their third Super Bowl in the 1990s and first under coach Barry Switzer. They opened up the season favored to return to the Super Bowl. However, the team failed to live up to expectations after Troy Aikman and Barry Switzer had a nice little football beat. The team finished 6-10 and would miss the playoffs. The next year, Jerry would hire Chan Gailey to take over as head coach, and he would get them back to the playoffs with basically the aging star still there. But that would really be the last good year with the team's core players like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. Chan Gailey was there for one more year, and then came a few forgettable years with Dave Campo until Bill Parcells arrived in 2003. The Bill Parcells hiring was the first of his kind from Jerry Jones. He was hearing criticism in the media for a few years up until this point. You were hearing rumblings about how Jerry needs to hire a football guy and take a step back, and Jerry caved to the criticism and really allowed another alpha in Bill Parcells to call the shots. The Cowboys did not draft well for a few years leading up to when Parcells got to Dallas, and that was on Jerry. There was no debating it. From the years 1998 to 2003, Jerry Jones was not a good general manager. He had a tough time replacing Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. And keep in mind, this was a time where running backs and wide receivers were looked at as the most valuable guys on the team outside of the quarterback. And as for the quarterback, he elected to go with Quincy Carter as a successor to Troy Aikman. Parcells got a few core players to lead into the next generation of Cowboys football, and DeMarcus Ware and Jason Witten, and then most importantly Tony Romo. But even Parcells couldn't really get the Cowboys out of mediocrity. They made the playoffs in 2 of the 4 years, but what Parcells really did do well is he set the Cowboys up for the next 10 years with Tony Romo at quarterback. After the 2006 season, Jerry Jones was seeing the same results as he was when he was calling the shots, and he took the team back. He then went back to hiring somebody that would not push back against him in Wade Phillips. The post-Parcells era is very much misinterpreted by the media. You see, Jerry Jones was better in building a team this time around. And yes, while most of his core players were Parcells guys, he did have a few good drafts, bringing in guys like Des Bryant and Sean Lee. And the one thing that Jerry Jones did understand from pretty much the time Parcells leaving in 2006 up until now is the importance of the offensive line. Year in and year out, Cowboys would have one of the best offensive line and run games. In 2007, the Cowboys were favored to come out of the NFC, finishing their season 13-3 until they got upset by the eventual Super Bowl champion Giants. And in 2009, they also returned to the playoffs until getting blown out by the Vikings in the divisional round. But then, after a rough start in the 2010 season, Jerry Jones would replace Wade Phillips with offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. And in a nutshell, this is where Jerry Jones haters will say he's not a good GM. You see, during Jason Garrett's tenure in Dallas, Jerry Jones would consistently have one of the more talented rosters in the league. The Cowboys would draft well year after year. From 2011 to 2014, the Cowboys showed complete competence in drafting future Hall of Famers, offensive linemen Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, as well as bringing in 5-time Pro Bowler Travis Frederick in the first round. Around this time, you started to hear these two guys' names more and more, Stephen Jones and Willie McClay. Jerry Jones appeared to be giving more power to his son and McClay, and the results were beginning to show. One specific incident that stands out was in the 2014 NFL Draft when the Cowboys were on the clock with the 16th pick, and there was one guy that the Cowboys had written all over him. His name was Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football was a Texas-grown kid, Heisman Trophy winner, and had the swag to match the accomplishments at the college level. But instead of taking Manziel, the Cowboys settled on a guard in Zach Martin. Legend has it Jones had a draft card with Manziel's name on it and was set to turn it in when Stephen Jones snatched the card from him. Martin is well on his way to Canton, and Johnny Manziel, well, let's just say the NFL didn't quite work out for him. Jerry would go on to win 2014 Executive of the Year. Eventually, Romo would wind up getting replaced by Dak Prescott, with the team largely having the same offensive DNA. While building an offensive line and in recent years building a good pass rush, Stephen Jones and Willie McClay was able to help Jerry realize what got him to Super Bowl rings in the 1990s. But the fact that Jones kept Jason Garrett as coach for 10 seasons will always be a stain on his legacy if the Cowboys don't win a Super Bowl before he dies. While continuity can be good, Jason Garrett is one of the worst in-game managers, and the team underwhelmed despite having one of the best rosters year in and year out. And so far, Mike McCarthy's tenure, it's been pretty much a mirror to Garrett's, but like we said, winning is hard to come by. You can give credit to Stephen Jones and Willie McClay if you'd like, but part of what makes an effective leader is putting the right people in place. As much as Bill Belichick deserves credit for building a good program in New England, he wasn't doing all the legwork himself and relied on other front office guys as well. So regardless of who runs the scouting department, it's Jerry Jones' team, and he's the general manager. He calls the shots, so he deserves the credit when things are going good and the blame when things are going bad. So here's the answer. Jerry Jones is ultimately a good general manager in terms of putting a roster together, but he lacks in putting the right guy in charge of his football coaching staff so far. His larger-than-life aura will always hang over whoever is in charge of the team on the field, and thus far, that has held his team back from greatness. So what do you think? Is Jerry Jones a good general manager? Leave a comment below and tell me what you think, and if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.